Alright guys, so I'm going to show you real quick just a few of the parts, well not a few, the parts that come with the kit, the Stingray kit, just to kind of give you an idea where they go and how they go. I had one of the guys that bought the kit wanted me to kind of show their placement so that it'll be a little easier to put together. So pretty much you get the top, you get the bottom piece, you get the two side plates, you get the bottom links to hold the upper link, and then you get the two links for the side. These I don't have here because I don't know, I forgot to print them. But anyways, these are them. They're pretty easy. They just go on that little ball and then on the bottom ball. Boom, that's it. If it doesn't go easily into the ball, it's not that there's something wrong with it. It's supposed to be tight. I don't want it to come off when you're crawling. So a little trick to get them to go in the ball is just heat them up with the heat gun, like just to light it, tiny little bit. It'll cause the plastic to get a little bit softer, and then just pop it in and kind of squeeze it with your finger so it wraps around the ball real good. It has like really close tolerances so that it doesn't snap out when you're crawling, because you're putting a lot of tension on these guys, especially with the angle that they're running. It's like they always want to pry out of there. So I had to make the tolerances real close. Okay, so pretty much it's pretty simple. I mean, I made these kits so that you pretty much don't have anywhere else to go. There's okay, hold on, I missed this. Alright, this is one of my older kits where I was still playing with the hole placement for the links. So don't mind those two holes there. It's only one hole when it comes with the kit, which is the one where you put the ball for the rear link, which should be right around there. Then you're gonna have two holes on the bottom here. The top one has this piece coming off the side, which is going to fit on the side of the top links. That's gonna make up the difference there. Now the best way to put that together is you're gonna run a bolt from this side, and it's gonna be long enough to run through this piece and then stick out at least about a 1/4 inch out. So you're gonna need like a 14 millimeter or above bolt to go through, and then you're not gonna put a nut on the other side. The bolt is gonna be screwed onto this, and it's gonna be loose on the other side, because these two pieces come together around that top link. There's no way that it's gonna come out, so you're gonna have the bolt going through on the inside. That piece is not gonna come out, but it's gonna be able to ride in there loose, so you don't have any kind of a restriction when you're crawling. You don't want to have any drag anywhere. If you put a nut in there, it's gonna have to be like a locking nut, but you don't want to tighten it all the way, because if you do, you're gonna make this seize up and it's not gonna go up and down. Pretty much the easiest way to get started is you get the two side plates, which are these, that one and that one. You're gonna look, it's got two holes, one at the bottom there and then one at the bottom here, and that's for the bottom plate. Now this bottom plate, it's got a little bit of plastic in there where I have my ESC connected to. It's got a little kind of like a curve, like a half moon on this side. There's a reason for that. That's gonna fit under this piece right here, and you don't want it to rub against that piece that's protruding out. It's gonna hold that top link. So that's where this piece is gonna go. You bolt this down right there and right there, and this you could keep bolted on as you put the rest of the kit on. So you put that one on that side, this one on this side, and that's the one that's gonna sit like this right there. Right there you're gonna put the ESC and receiver, which is in there. It's a mess because I just put these new servos in there, and they had so much wire. I was gonna cut the wire down, but I was a little bit lazy because I wanted to take it out to test it. But anyways, they're tucked in there. Everything fits. what you do is you put the ESC with the plugs on the top, as close to the top as you can, and then what you're gonna do is the little connectors that come out for the servos, you're gonna bend them down ever so slightly because you don't want to snap them. So very carefully, just bend it down. Both of them. You could do it. I had it to where they sat flush with the ESC, but then I decided, you know, I had to put the wires and tie them up and everything. So I brought them up at about a 45-degree angle from the ESC, and everything closes, no problem. So you can go, you know, you can go down all the way, or you can go 45 degrees. The battery, I did this. I don't suggest it unless you guys don't have a problem taking out these two bolts that go here, this one and the one on the other side, they hold on to the top, because what I did is I removed the battery cable, the one that has the positive and negative, and I also removed it from the ESC. And what I did is I put a plug in there, the charging port plug, and I left the charging port on the battery. So the power to the ESC is actually coming from the charging plug of the LiPo battery. It's not a problem because the only cables that are connected down here to the ESC on the charging plug are the two ones on the corner. The middle metal piece on that charging plug, you have to remove it so that you don't have that metal piece in there that's going to interfere. You're only going to connect to the ESC the left one and the right one, which is the negative and the positive, and then you'll be able to plug the battery in there. But like I said, I wouldn't suggest doing this unless you don't have a problem opening the hood every time. You know, I don't have a problem because, you know, I really don't run for that long, and this battery is big enough to last me however long I ride it. But if you guys are going to ride it for a long time, I suggest just, you know, keep the little plug in there so you could take the battery in and out. Another thing is I also glued the battery in there. So that's not something that I suggest, again, unless you guys are gonna be okay with opening it up and just charging the battery there. This is a Nanotech 260 milliamp hour 2S battery, and you get those at Hobby King, you know, if they ever decide to ship it to you, because I've had some issues with them lately. For the past 2 months I've been waiting for my orders to be processed, and I've had to cancel 2 orders because after 2 weeks they were still processing for some reason. So I'm waiting on my 3rd order now after canceling the first 2 to see if that one goes through. Anyways, from these 2 that you put together, once those are together and you have the ESC in there, then you're gonna connect the one that goes to here, that link in the front, just to make things a lot easier. So you connect it right in there. You know, like I said, you're gonna use that bolt to go right through there, and it's gonna hold that metal piece in there. Also, that link is not gonna be connected to the axle yet. You're just gonna put it in there with this whole piece outside. Just put that in there. You'll snap that on later. The other thing, it might be a good time for you guys to set up your shocks. The shocks go connected to this bottom bolt right here, this hole right here and right there. So that's where you connect the shocks. It's the best time to do it is right now, so connect it right there. Also, your front links, bottom links, as you guys already know, I used the original ones because I didn't want to have too many things that had to be printed, because the price will go up on Shapeways, and I'm trying to get this as cheap as possible out the door so you guys can use it. So go ahead and use this link. You're just gonna put it upside down. Like I said before, you're gonna have to drill a hole on the support for the servos and just put a little spacer in there. Anything you want to use, you know, as long as you get about 5 millimeters, so that it clears the body. You know, you want this to be straight, and that actually goes to the bottom where it connects all of this together. So that's one thing I forgot to tell you. When you're putting this together, the bolt that connects this together is going to hold that ball at the same time, the one that holds the link. So if you haven't put the link on the ball, you will put the ball with the bolt on the bottom to that little hole to hold this piece, or you could just put the link at the same time and just hold it all together. Sorry, I kind of missed that one in the beginning. The other thing, let me see. Okay, so you have these pieces here. These are the rear link, the upper link braces. So what you do is, there's these guys right here. You have one for the left and one for the right. These have this special kind of shape to it because I wanted it to be sandwiched in there between the bottom and the top plate. So when you close it, it falls in place and nothing moves. Just in case you were to lose any of the two bolts on either of the sides, the top and bottom plate is going to hold that piece in there and it's not going to come apart. You guys know that, you know, after playing a lot, you're going to start losing screws and some stuff. So this is going to save you from having any trouble. So you have a kind of like a fail safe, I guess. So this is going to be sandwiched between the bottom and the top plate. It's going to go this way. So this will be the left, where that thing protrudes out. And then that little hole right there, that's where your rear link is going to go fit it into. Now the newer versions, I changed this shape a little bit so that you can actually, you know, have a little bit of up and down in there. It's I don't know, it just gives you a little bit extra play with the chassis. See how it goes up and down? This one doesn't. So the new one does, but it looks the same if you look at it from this side. I just changed the shape of the inside. You have the 3 holes in here, which is for your shocks. Your shocks are going to be mounted from the outside in. Of course, put a nut in there. And that's where you connect the top of the shocks. Shocks on the rear, they have to be limited. I limited the front, and then I limited the back ones as well. Because if you have too much movement on the shocks, you're going to have a little bit of walk on the axles where they want to come forward and kick forward. You know, when you have so much articulation in the back because of the shape, it's really hard for you to be able to get a link in there with this kind of shape and not have the issue where your axles try to move forward. See right here where it's lifting the body when it kicks the axle up. If you get a lot of movement on the shocks and that spring goes all the way and the rod goes all the way, then this will come forward too far and that's not going to let you crawl straight where you want to go. So you limit those, you know, I leave it to your discretion as how much you want to do it. You can also put a spring, like I said on the previous videos, to limit it instead of having to use a smaller bolt. Those springs come from mechanical pencils that you can get at Walmart for like $1. Let me see. I'm going really fast, guys, because it's really not that complicated once you get into it. And I don't want to make such a long video that's going to bore you guys. So, like I said, you go from the outside. It's going to connect at the bottom at the original spot where it connects. The upper links connects in the same place, but there's where things change. You're going to put a spacer in there as well. Another 5mm spacer, whatever you want to use as a spacer, just put it in there. Same thing in the front. You want to use a 5mm spacer at the bottom of the ball that holds the links. There's a reason for that as well. If you don't have the limited shocks like I do, and you don't put that spacer, what will happen is the axle is going to drop too much and it's actually going to turn on itself. And the same thing will happen in the back. It'll drop too much and turn on itself. And then what you're going to have is your servo is going to be pointing upwards, and then you're going to be steering like this. So you're going to be stuck pretty much. You're not going to go anywhere. And for you to pull it back in, you got to do it manually. So you don't want to, well, it doesn't happen in the back because you have this limited here. That's why I did that. But in the front, mainly it's going to happen. But you still want to limit it in the back. You put that little 5mm spacer in there, and that's going to get you to where the crawler is going to function, you know, and do all this articulation and all the good stuff, and it's going to be safe, and it's not going to be, you know, come all out of whack. Man, that was it. Okay. Oh, top piece. Alright, for you guys that decide to do the craziness that I did with the battery and glue it on and take the plugs out and do all that craziness, I made the top to where it'll be easily removable. All these pieces, you're going to notice that you're going to have to use small drill bits to enlarge the holes, or you're going to use something to tap the holes to get it the thread that you need, because I purposely made the holes smaller than what the bolts are. Because obviously you're going to have to thread these so those bolts don't come out. I didn't want to make it too big because a big issue that a lot of people have with micro crawlers is that the threads on those bolts are extremely fine, and you strip these things. So I made it to where you could thread in here and use the hole that comes with it as a guide, so you could thread it in there and get the bolts to go in. I also made the holes to go from one side to the other, and my suggestion is start with a 3mm bolt. If that strips out, go with a 5mm bolt. Strips out, go with a 10. You know, and you keep going and going and going as you strip them down, if you ever do. And you have a lot of room, so you could, you know, thread all that in there, and then your chassis is gonna last you forever. You know, like I said, biggest issue with micro crawlers is you have to get new pieces because there's no longer thread in there, and then you have to move from the 2mm bolts to the 2.5 and then to the 3, and then it just doesn't work. So I try to do that. But anyways, my point is you only have 2 bolts holding here, 2 bolts holding here, so it just works like a hood. You know, you take either the back ones if you want to work on it from this side, or you take the front ones off and then it opens to the back and work on it right there. It just makes it that much easier. So you can see here you have 3 bolts that are mounted. The bottom one is holding the bottom plate. Those 2 are holding the links, the link mounts. You don't have to put them both, but I suggest you do. I mean, it's just a fail-safe thing. You know, if you drop one of these, like my son has done so many times, you're going to be glad that you had the 2 bolts, because, you know, it just spreads all the force in the whole piece. And I made that piece really thick just so that it could take the beating. You know, look at how long that is. So it could take, you know, a lot of abuse. So don't be cheap. Just put an extra bolt in there. Make use of all the mounting holes. And pretty much that's it. I mean, there's nothing really fancy. It's just I really try my best to make this the most simple and functional chassis possible. And so far it's been working great for me. Oh, I mounted these so you guys can see what they look like. Those extra weight that I had on the washers on the other crawlers, you know, that Billet Works used to make. I went ahead and put them here because this is the wheel that I sell in Shapeways, where it has the design so you could put the plates here. So that added another 8 grams. So right now I'm running 55 grams of weight on the front and 25 grams of weight on the back, because I haven't put the bullets in there yet. And just posted a video and it seems to work really well. I mean, I have no issues with it. I try to go through really difficult areas and it didn't get caught, so that worked out really good for me. Now the other thing, let me move this out the way, that aside, and this is all, these are the little bolts. Those are the 3mm bolts that I used to hold the top. This right here, you guys already know, that's my spider chassis that I used on my sumo crawler. It's going through some changes. I changed a little bit the mounting holes and everything to make it fit this chassis better. I mean, this axles better. This is not the one that I have on Shapeways. This is a special one that I'm making, which I will put on Shapeways later. The one on Shapeways is the one that fits the bolt pattern of the basher, the stock basher. So this one's going to be there, but not yet. I want to perfect it. For this one, what I did was I created a mount for dual links on the top for the basher axles. I have these on Shapeways as well if you want to get those. These I made for this chassis, although you can also use it for the basher. The only difference is for the basher, the mounting holes are a little bit further back, so you're gonna have to use like a really short beam there, and it's gonna have to be more of an angle to be able to get there if you want to go that route. So as you can see, it has to be bent so it doesn't hit the shocks. So there you go, boom, boom. So it only fits one way, so you're not gonna get confused as to how you're gonna use it. And what else? these wheels have the weight inside, plus they have the washers. They turned out to be, if I'm not mistaken, 40 grams, I think. Either 40 or 45. Oh, I'll weigh them later. I don't know. But they're really heavy. I think it's 45 grams. Yeah, that they have. These are the wheels that I posted up there that you could put weights in there, the 1-inch wheels. And on top of that, I put 2 plates. The one washer here in the front, and then this one that covers it. And then on the back, I put the one metal washer, and then the one to close it up, the plastic one that comes with the wheels. This, I believe, is going to turn out to be really good crawler. And again, like I said, I'm trying to use everything stock, you know, axles. These shocks, you guys already know, it's not the basher shocks. These are the sumo shocks. But like I said, I'm just testing all of these out. If I find out that I can't do this with the basher shocks, then I'll let you guys know. But so far, this is just a test rig, and we'll see how that turns out. That's them right there. So you can see from the guys that know what the Spider chassis, the size was, you could see the difference here. They're about the same size. This one's a little fatter, and then this one's a little skinnier. And I'm gonna have a longer wheelbase and smaller diameter tires on these. Plus, that one's gonna be a lot skinnier. Plus, I'm thinking about putting a dig on that, which I'll also put on this later, but I'm working on that. So this one should be really, really, really good for crawling, with the only exception that it's not going to be able to grow over some things that this one can, like those big blocks that are square. This really gives it an advantage, the Stingray. So I'm going to see how I'm going to be able to overcome those with this one. But anyways, man, I try to make a short video, and obviously that didn't work out. Sorry, guys. Anyways, that's what I had to show you guys right now. I hope it helps out. If you guys have any other issues with the chassis, with anything else, just let me know, and I'll do my very best to try to come up with something to help you guys out, okay? Alright, thanks for watching, and I apologize if I bored you. Thanks. Bye.